Last Pint Productions presents the New Way podcast. The New Way contains adult content, but since this is one of our special edition short episodes, we don't have time to record one of our comedic adult content warning masterpieces. I mean, we could have, in about the same amount of time it took to tell you we wouldn't, but we didn't. So there. Listener discretion is advised.
Let's say I don't die in a crash with bigger stars than me, and I actually get an obituary. I've lately thought that it probably is going to read actor Kevin Bacon, dead, no Oscars, but at least he has a game named after him. The 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. In case you haven't heard of this game, the idea is that any actor alive or dead can be connected to me through our work in 6 steps or less.
Everybody wants to be naked and famous. Everybody wants to be just like me. I'm naked.
Will you help teach me about this? What is it? A new way?
Hello and welcome to the New Way podcast, where we take a deep dive into pop culture so you don't have to. I am Matt Shank. I'm in the studio with Ben Wilson, and we have Nick Santacroce on the satellites.
Oh, hello.
This is another in our shorter series of episodes. You may have heard our initial offering with On Location in Tejas. And this is our first of our 6 Degrees episodes. These will be focuses on specific actors or actresses and run about 45 minutes so you can get about your day and be productive out there in society. Of course, if you're going to kick off a 6 Degrees episode, you have to do the namesake of the game himself, Mr. Kevin Bacon. As a friend of mine once said, the best bacon is unexpected bacon. And that's the joy that Kevin Bacon brings you in a movie when he just shows up and you had no idea you were getting. No one's upset by unexpected bacon, is my friend's. That was Spencer Schrader believed that, and I believe that he's not wrong.
Not wrong.
He said this one night, by the way, when we were at a
Wait, was
diner.
he in Hollow Man?
He was in Hollow Man, and there
That's
is
the one time I'm not that
now.
happy.
Now, listen. There is a
That was
long,
expected bacon, though.
Yeah, no,
That was bacon in a shoe.
there is a long stand bacon in a shoe. Is
Because Elizabeth's
I
shoe was
know
the-
what
okay.
you were doing. I'm not a dummy. It was wrong and gross and funny, but it was mostly gross. Bacon in a shoe.
Invisible bacon in
God
a shoe.
almighty.
You feel that bacon. when you-
hide the bacon in the shoe.
All right, I will add the asterisk. Unexpected bacon is always good unless it's invisible or in a shoe. Poor Kevin Bacon deserves better than this, my friends. Bacon has shown his bacon. Bacon's Bacon appears in several of Bacon's movies. We've got
Diner.
Wild Things. Wild Things has some Bacon's Bacon. Hollow Man's got some Bacon's Bacon in it. He's not shy of showing off the bacon. And then he brings home the bacon to Kira Sedgwick. And
you could have just called Wild Things Wild Bacon.
Wild Bacons. I mean, I'd still watch it. Great fucking movie. And we will be getting to it. So Kevin Bacon has only, and I say only, you might think this sounds like a high number, but if you look at some IMDb film logs, you'll see 150 credits or 200 credits. Kevin Bacon has a mere 94 film and television credits.
And about half of those are television or short film, too.
Yes, but he is the most connected man to other actors, hence the game 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, where you determine how many moves it takes to get from an actor to Kevin Bacon. For example, you might say a new younger actor, Chris Pine. How do we get from Chris Pine to Kevin Bacon? They're not in a movie together.
I got you in one move.
What's your one move?
Chris Pine was in... Oh, no, I think it's...
Guardians of... Wait, no.
Well done.
Well, nicely done.
The reason why, though, he is so connectable is that he is in a string of ensemble connectable to other actors. He's connectable bacon. It's the best action figure you can get. It's mint in package with his package. We've got Diner, Flatliners, A Few Good Men, Apollo 13, Mystic River, JFK, which has a movie with 1,000 fucking people in it. He has so many connections. It is very typically easy.
Maybe he could answer the age-old question, was that Sean Penn's daughter in there?
we are gonna.
He's the only one that gives a decent performance.
I
in that
know we're
scene.
definitely going to talk about Mystic River on here because fuck that movie.
Fuck
but
that movie.
But I love the bacon. So I thought originally I had an idea that we were going to play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, and as we went into films that he was in with other people, we talked about those films. I realized that would basically just have us talking about JFK every 2 minutes. So I audibled that, and I kind of took a spin on the Kevin Bacon game. I want to see if you guys can play along with me here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 actors and or actresses. And you have to connect those two via movies. So you might say, like you said, they're in a movie with this person who's in a movie with this person who's in this movie with whoever. But you're connecting 2 random people. But you must take a trip through Baconville on your way to the other person. Do you think you can handle the challenge?
Sure.
Would you like to compete against each other, or do you want to just have me give you one and you go ahead and work it through yourself?
Let's compete.
You want? All right, we're gonna
Compete. Let's compete.
We'll compete. All right. Lupita Nyong'o and Paul Dano. Connect them while taking a trip through Baconville and go.
Well, whose turn is it? Is it the first
Well, you
person
said
to-
you're going to compete. You guys, who
feel
can
like
do it in
that-
fewer moves?
But then I'll steal my answers.
Who can do it in fewer moves?
You have to do one move at a time, and we can't copy each other's moves. I think. How about that?
No, you guys think of your moves, and whoever has the lower number, that's the person that wins.
All right.
So if Nick says I can do it in 3, you got to try to do it in 2, and if you can't, Nick says it.
Well, go ahead, Ben. You start first.
There's a lot of thinking this.
Okay,
game.
I got you.
Okay.
Okay. So
How many? Wait, how many
Start
moves?
with Paul Dano.
No. So I'm going to Paul Dano. Oh. See, I've got the easy Lupita.
That is the greatest sound drop I think I have ever.
Oh,
it was
it
your
was clean.
Charleston chew.
It was clean, baby.
You did the Charleston chew, Paul Dano. Oh,
See,
I've
I've got Lupita Nyong'o through Baconville.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out how to
get her back onto Dano.
get onto Dano in less than 2 moves.
Okay. How about you, Nick? Are you getting any thoughts on here?
No,
Oh, you cut out. What'd you say?
No, I didn't cut out. I said no.
Oh, you said it wordlessly.
No.
Ben, by the way, is going full Minority Report over here and like swiping movies and.
Beautiful
Hey,
mind.
how about this? How about they make the move from Lupita
Okay.
to
How many?
to
How
Bacon?
many?
I think it's 3.
3. All right.
Lupita Nyong'o was with Chiwetel Ejiofor
Mm-hmm.
in 12 Years a Slave.
Mm-hmm.
Chiwetel Ejiofor was with Nathan Fillion in Serenity. Nathan Fillion was in Saving Private Ryan with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was with Kevin Bacon in Apollo 13.
Good job. All right, so you got to that was a lengthy
4.
one. Do you think you can get there in fewer moves than that, Nick? To Baconville?
We're not going to Paul Dano anymore?
You are, but Ben's only made it to Baconville, but it took 4 moves. If you can beat that, then you're at least leading that charge.
Okay, but we're starting with Lupita.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, let's just go. Let's do this. Let's go. Lupita was in Black Panther with, let's say, who's been in more things? Let's go Andy Serkis.
I
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah, I'm seeing
And
it.
then
I'm seeing your line
Andy.
here.
Wait, you see where I'm going with this? We'll go Andy Serkis.
You got it in 3 on this one, actually.
Yep.
I have it in 3.
You do, I think, on that just to Bacon.
Oh, fuck. Well, help me out.
I would say Circus in Kong with Colin Hanks. Colin Hanks
Yeah.
in the great Burt Wonderstone. What the
Yeah,
hell is
yeah,
the magic movie with Tom Hanks? Hanks is in this. So as we got one down on there. All right, let's try to get from Kevin Bacon to Paul Dano. We're not going to play a whole lot of these today, guys. But
Okay.
let's get from Bacon to Dano.
Gangs of New York with, of course, you got to go with that guy.
What?
What are you
Wait,
talking
what?
about?
That's not
Robert.
Bacon.
You got to go Robert from Dano.
What?
Paul Dano's
Paul Dano's not in Gangs of New York.
Oh, I meant drink your milkshake. There will be blood.
Yes. I see what you. Okay, you're going from.
I mixed them up.
Yes. I would probably.
Right? That's probably the biggest connection, right?
I mean, you got Emile Hirsch for Girl Next Door and Oliphant. Have Oliphant been in anything with Bacon? I don't know. I purposely, when I came up with these, I picked people that I couldn't immediately get to Bacon from because they have some weird connections. What else is Dano?
Dano created diet.
Dano was in Swiss Army Man with Daniel Radcliffe, who was in with every British actor in the world in all of the Potter movies. So if think of any of the Potter movies,
see, the problem is
Kevin Bacon rode the horse that Daniel Radcliffe acted with in Equus.
In the horse he rode in Animal House.
Yes.
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take that one for that. These were.
Yeah.
I had other ones.
Tough.
I had Alec Baldwin and Giovanni Ribisi, which I thought could be a little bit tricky to put together. But maybe we have time at the end of the episode. We'll play some more Bacon games. But let's actually talk about. So what for?
You should have hid the bacon in the shoe.
I should have hid the bacon. My great regret in life always is I didn't hide the bacon in the shoe. Nick, what was your first introduction to Kevin Bacon?
Ooh, it had to be Diner.
Kenny
It had to be
Loggins.
Diner. No.
You were watching Diner as a kid?
I was born and raised in Baltimore. You know that movie. You haven't seen it, but you know it. You know?
I didn't know there was a Baltimore movie. That might come up.
Oh,
in our
no,
on
Barry
location.
Levinson, man, that's a big Baltimore movie.
Big time. I mean, it's an
Shot in
amazing
Baltimore,
scene.
yeah.
There's a scene where it's a character that's engaged, and the friends and family won't allow the wedding to happen if she doesn't get a 75% on a Baltimore Colts quiz, and they lock her in the basement.
Wow, I have not seen this in
classic
years,
scene.
so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, Diner is a big Baltimore. I mean, it's 82. It was the year I was born.
Honestly, Diner is a great bridge in Kevin Bacon because you got a million people in that movie.
Well, what I realized with the Kevin Bacon game, this is going to be a very sad dissertation on us here. We want to call we're in boomer territory. As I was like, the Kevin Bacon game used to be so easy because like you had Diner, you're like, oh, I'll connect to any one of the big names in Diner, like Paul Reiser, or and I'm like, oh, these people are not in a lot of things anymore, and they don't connect easily to the Paul Danos of the universe. So,
all right, connect Paul Dano to Tyler the Creator. Go.
Well, trick question. Only one of those people is real. Okay, now
Trick question. They're best friends.
Okay, cool. So wow, it is kind of funny that like Baltimore's so enmeshed in raising their kids that like the first thing you think of
It's the Baltimore movie.
is Diner. Like that's like because that's way past Diner. I knew about, but it was a movie too old for me, and I'm a couple of years older than you. Like that's kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, most of John Waters' fare is too fucked up to claim that first. A lot of stuff is gritty and sad or violent. Diner is just pure Baltimore-cana.
That's crazy. Like
Baltimore-ana.
I don't think I saw Diner until like the 90s.
You're a Baltimore-ana,
I
Nick.
revisited Diner because it was out in 82. I was watching E.T., not
it's
Diner.
a great movie.
How about you, Ben? What was your
Paul
first
Reiser.
Bacon?
I think that my first Bacon was actually Tremors.
It doesn't not stop being funny. Tremors, that's a good first Bacon.
Yeah, because I think I knew. I think actually the first movie I ever saw where I was actively aware of Kevin Bacon was A Few Good Men, which I was watching I think with my dad. But I remember I rented Tremors. That was the first time I was just like, oh, I know this guy. This is this guy, but I didn't know really anything that he was from.
This guy.
But it was funny because right after I saw Tremors, I saw Footloose for the first time, and I was just like, oh shit, this guy was like a star. Like I didn't realize that he was like a big thing. And then I watched She's Having a Baby, and then I watched a bunch of other of his movies, and then Sleeper came out, and I was like,
in She's Having a Baby, they played the Kate Bush song that is karaoke'd in You're the Worst. Matt.
oh my god,
wow, you are really into that
woman-
Kate Bush song.
This
he
woman's
loves
work,
some
baby.
Kate Bush.
This woman's birth. It's about childbirth. It's about the miracle of childbirth. You ignorant swine.
I'd have to talk to my
Show some
grandparents
respect.
before I found somebody who liked Bush more than Nick.
Oh Lord.
Wow.
It's fun.
Did they like the president?
What?
Oh, but President Bush.
Oh,
Okay,
oh,
let's not go there. We left Texas on our last series podcast.
Can you cut that out?
No, that's that. We go. So this is where it is. I do find it interesting of our age gaps. Is
Yeah.
that for me? Footloose is Kevin Bacon. That was the that movie came out and that was all. It was a huge fucking sensation.
Dancing and singing.
Yeah, it was amazing, and there was a really funny anecdote from that movie because I watched this recently, like within the last month. My brother and his girlfriend and her kids came up here, and we were like chilling out the day before New Year's Eve, and Footloose just like happened to be on one of the movie channels, so I just kept it running, and my brother and I are kind of watching it and talking, like we're making fun of a little bit because there's a lot of anger dancing and gymnastics in that movie, and it's a really interesting movie. But there's this part where Laurie Singer, the female lead in it, she's like this pastor's daughter and all kind of crazy
PK.
and like really wants to rebel. So there's this scene where like she walks out in the train tracks in front of this train, and she's just like fucking drunk and she's like staring down the train. She's gonna play chicken with this train, not gay chicken like Paul and Ben play, where Paul loses every time, but but an actual chicken. And
Everybody loses.
yeah, this is true. In Paul's gay chicken, everyone's a loser.
Not until you win.
And in this case, all of our listeners.
Hey,
Yeah.
in my case, nobody loses
No.
gay chicken.
I love gay chicken.
I love gay chicken.
So she stands out in front of this train and she's like screaming at it, and it's about to hit her, and it's this tense moment. And of course, he like pushes her off the tracks.
dances her away.
He angry dances her away. So while we're watching this, my brother's girlfriend's 11-year-old daughter is sitting on the couch, I think watching this movie with us. She's actually on her like playing like watching videos on her phone, but I don't know. So
Kids today
right
are so engrossed
No.
in their phones.
So right before she gets pushed off, Samantha just goes ha 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 and lets out this maniacal, like hysterical laugh, and we're like, Jesus! It literally looked like she was just like, that lady's about to get hit by a train. Ha! That's the funniest thing. It was a very bizarre moment. We're like,
Wow.
Samantha, what's going on? She's like, I'm playing a game. We're like, okay, that was very strange, but it's a
For some reason, your description there, for a second, I thought you're like, my brother's 10-year-old girlfriend.
Not that. He broke up with the
the game-
10-year-old. I'm
game-
sorry.
The game she was playing was the Sega adaptation of Footloose.
It was the most dangerous game. That movie, by the
About
way,
dying.
it's a phenomenal fucking movie. You've got some great performances from Diane Wiest and John
Lithgow is great.
who I knew John Lithgow because it came out at the same time as that movie, Harry and the Hendersons. So I was very confused by this like happy, really nice dad character and this fucking terrifying dad character that are the same person.
Pastor.
That's a hard thing when you're a kid and you're watching movies and you don't understand the idea that, because like especially for me, I grew up like with Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and I'm like, oh, Indiana Jones is just Han Solo, but now he has a whip and a hat and he digs things up. But it's the same, like it's Harrison Ford. He's playing the same character.
Sure.
It's weird when you see someone bridge a different gap.
Well, so to rewind just a little bit, because I want to know what Nick's introduction or like any other of your experiences like watching as you were growing up watching Kevin Bacon,
Young Bacon.
young Bacon. I think the interesting thing when I was watching Trimmers about when I was 9 years old, 10 years old or whatever, which my mom made me turn off because there were too many curse words in it.
Not the giant worms killing people.
No,
but-
no, it was
but-
the curse
but
words.
The
It was the- it
dad
was the-
from Family Ties saying fuck.
It was the naughty words.
Okay.
But the
Explains everything.
I had no context, I think, at that point. Like I said, I think I had seen A Few Good Men or parts of A Few Good Men or whatever. Touche.
Good lord.
I saw more than A Few Good Men, and I saw all their parts.
Please let's not go where I think this episode is heading.
Oh, no. Anyways,
Started playing
but
Six Degrees
in my
of
head,
We're only 20 minutes in, guys. We got a lot of bacon to get through.
and it's sizzling.
but Kevin Bacon was so good doing that kind of like redneck sort of,
It's
backcountry
with
thing.
smoke.
That's what I thought he was. Like, I thought he was just like this kind of
yeah.
random. I thought he was Fred Ward, like a kind of a redneck sort of Southern character. I had no idea that he was not like that at all. Like, I just assumed that I was like, oh, that's how he is, because he's like the main character of that movie.
No, and it's funny though.
I mean, what the hell is going on?
You bring up a good point though, by the way. What is Kevin Bacon? Like, is he New York? Is he, what is he? Like, what
Bacon.
is his, he, cause he's like, so in Footloose, they keep talking about he's a city kid from Chicago. That's his character. He's a city guy from Chicago. And he can play city, but,
City kid.
but he doesn't like, he's not city, he's not country. He's like this own unique, like, he can fit in. He works great as like a beat cop, as whatever, like all those things, but he's not. It's very interesting. I that's kind of.
I think Donnie and Marie said it best.
He's a little bit country.
And a little bit rock and roll.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
This is well done, Nick. Now
It's true, because he doesn't really fit into any sort of genre. Yeah, but Nick, what's your favorite? What was your
what's your favorite bacon?
What's your favorite bacon?
How do you like your bacon cooked?
Well, I think
Raw.
it definitely has to be Tremors. Once I saw that, for sure. I'm not super.
What? You saw the brochure?
No, I didn't say that.
You just did. You said I was. It must be Tremors after I saw the brochure.
No, I was in Texas. I was in a hotel and I picked up the brochure.
Visit the
I-
Tremors.
Go
And
on the Tremors tour
I
in
took
Texas.
a van out into the middle of the desert, and they said, "Wait here for the Tremor." It was great. It was a movie tour. This is where the Tremors came out. We
I
walked around
want a
and-
Tremors brochure so bad. So bad.
It was great. We walked around for like half an hour.
I read this
We
wonderful
had fun.
pamphlet on the Tremors, and I thought that sounds great.
The Tremors gift store, Tremors cafe. It's great. I loved it.
And it's funny.
Did you actually do this? Okay.
Yeah, it's in
'Cause
Baltimore.
I would never put it past you.
I listen. I would go on a Tremors tour. I would host it, for God's sake. But
it takes place in a small suburb of Baltimore, as all movies Nick was raised on. We're like, oh yeah, that movie takes place in that's Towson. Oh no, that's that's this other place.
Apocalyptic Towson.
That's a great
I'm not-
band name.
I mean, Tremors is a special place in my heart because it was not just a Kevin Bacon movie, but one of the first movies that I actively wanted to see and actively had to hide from my parents.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, they didn't let me see horror movies or scary movies, so that was a big one. And you saw that poster in the video store. You know,
Yeah.
it was like the take on Jaws. It was so awesome.
Which the thing on the poster looks nothing like the actual worms
Yeah.
in the movie, which is the funniest part.
But it looked pretty awesome.
It looked pretty awesome.
I'm not super learned about Bacon.
well,
you know?
and it's funny because like I saw Tremors, but like Tremors wasn't as big of it wasn't like the big Kevin Bacon movie
It had a
for
huge
me.
impact on
And
me.
it's crazy because like I
probably had better luck connecting like Sam Rockwell than Kevin Bacon. You know,
Sam Rockwell's not a bad comparison to Kevin Bacon in a sense. There's a similarity to
I do okay with that one.
how they kind of go about roles. Actually, that's kind of interesting. But no, I mean, he has an incredible range. I mean, I knew him. Footloose was definitely the introduction. Then you see him popping up as you become him. You're like, oh, that's the guy from Animal House. Another great ensemble movie that you can connect to for people that are like still alive from that movie. But I think A Few Good Men was probably the first time because I liked he was good in JFK, but A Few Good Men I remember the first time I was like kind of impressed with like, oh, like he's with Tom Cruise and like these people and Nicholson, and he's in this room and he's like, I believe this character. I'm kind of, it's a great role for him too, because it's the kind of thankless antagonist who's not really an antagonist. He is a good guy, and you get that out of the role. But it is a really fucking great performance from him. Do you have any special unsung? I mean, we've talked about The Woodsman, and we will talk about it on here. But do you have any lesser known unsung Bacon movies you might?
His performance in The River Wild is actually fantastic. For a movie that could be just a straight up B movie, that's only elevated by its casting. Basically, it's a B movie plot. You know, the plot
Not
is
beneath Kevin Bacon.
well,
No.
it's former river tour guide who's moved on to become do better things in life or whatever, goes back to reconnect with her family, and they go down, and then there's a heist, and the robbers hold her hostage and make her run the river that she hasn't run.
It's Meryl
since
Streep,
she was
right?
a kid, and it's Meryl Streep,
Yeah.
and David Strathairn,
Yeah.
Joseph Mazzello, John C. Reilly, and Kevin Bacon. That's who's in your fucking boat. That's
Is
the
Paul
way.
Dano in the boat?
That's the way you cast a fucking movie, right?
Yeah, that is
I could have used a little more Paul Dano.
no, but see, and that is, I think that's the superpower of
Right.
Kevin Bacon. Is Kevin Bacon is a great addition to any ensemble. And he doesn't always get a good lead role, but if he's showing up as like fifth on the bill, he's going to fucking deliver something really good for a smaller amount maybe of screen time.
And sometimes elevates the movie over what
Yes.
it should be. I mean, that's the thing. I've always said he's the only actor that I feel like is doing something competent in Mystic River, who's actually he's one of
You're
the
right.
few actors that actually elevates the pulpy movie.
Wild.
Wild Things.
I unapologetically love Wild
Well,
Things.
so Wild Things. The acting is awful in that
you
movie, but it's supposed to be kind of awful.
It's a tabloid
exactly.
as a movie.
He can skirt the same type of line that Nick Cage can skirt, where he can embrace B craziness and make it better, and just seem like he's in the right place, and then do Leaving Las Vegas.
But
he can turn in a.
I agree with you on that.
But-
He's a lot more
but-
he's a lot more subtle though than I mean, he's not the same type of performer that Nick Cage is. Nick Cage is very overt in what he's trying to do. Where
Yeah, but few
sometimes
actors can-
bacon just likes to slide that bacon in.
It's all right. So
all I'm saying is that Kevin Bacon and Nick Cage can take B roles that many other actors can't take without either getting pigeonholed for the rest of their career or getting blacklisted from the industry. They can bounce back with another movie because they can do it.
I think that Bacon. I don't think he ever goes off the rails. Quite like maybe
If Kevin Bacon did Sharknado 11, he would bounce back and do whatever else he wanted to do.
But he doesn't. The closest he's gotten to stuff like that is stuff like Hollow Man, which is still
I mean, that was an
Hollywood.
A-list movie.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? So there was a fucking phenomenal article written in it's a 20-year-old article at this point. I think it was in Entertainment Weekly.
Wouldn't it be awesome if he was in the Invisible Man remake with Elizabeth Moss?
That'd be wonderful.
Actually, Hollow Man 2.
He is, but you barely know he's there. That's how good Bacon is. There was this article, and it was after Hollow Man and Stir of Echoes came out, right? And I have a very conflicted history with Stir of Echoes, and that so David Koepp went to my cousin's high school, and Stir of Echoes was his directorial debut, and he brought that movie to Waukesha, Wisconsin, and he did like a whole shoot over like 2 days on this street, and everyone from the high school was invited to be an extra. It was this big deal that all of them like had this big movie coming out, and the whole town like rallied around him. And so when I went up there that summer, they put on Stir of Echoes, and I didn't love it. And
It's not a bad movie.
it's not a bad movie at all. It unfortunately also opened off of The Sixth Sense. And Sixth Sense is just it's a better movie, and it has a better hook, unfortunately. And then so Hollow Man, he's shooting, he breaks his ankle. They have to delay shooting on Stir of Echoes. That bumps Stir of Echoes so that it comes out after Sixth Sense, and he's been like a big he's put his heart and soul into Kevin Bacon's put his heart and soul into Stir of Echoes, and the whole article was just
David Koepp is like his best friend.
Yeah.
They're best friends.
when he this whole article was like, man, like sometimes it just feels like I'm trying to catch a break, and I'm always just like 10 steps behind. And it's the first time I read about someone that's a very successful actor that has nothing to be embarrassed about in their thing. But it is true. Kevin Bacon is always like the left at the altar, like Mystic River. He is bar none the only really
Saving grace
watchable,
of that
fucking
movie.
phenomenal performance in that movie. Everyone else gets nominated and wins for that movie. He doesn't even get nominated for that movie. And that's where I always he's the always the bridesmaid, never the bride, and it kind of sucks.
But it crazy. Like just sit back and like. That's
and-
crazy to me.
And 1 year later makes The Woodsman, which
Yes.
is the most like bar none, just extremely raw and powerful performance I have maybe seen from an American actor like in the last couple decades.
I remember
It's
you
so
told me that.
raw. It's so good, and it's so terrifying and horrible and wonderful.
And it was too much for the
It was too much for
and
people.
it is he's too
It
good
was
and it's
too
too
pure
creepy.
for this earth, Kevin Bacon.
No, not pure. It's a ugly.
He plays a child molester.
Yeah, he's a child molester. Like it's bad, and he's
he's too good in it. That's the problem. He's too.
His acting ability is too pure for this earth.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, and there's a history also. If you look at kind of, there's always like there's flashy bacon, and then there's like dark crispy bacon, which is like the other side of it. Because there's I remember the first
There's
movie.
thick cut. There's afterwards
right.
smoke.
The first time
Okay,
I
Bubba.
really saw like a affecting Bacon performance is a movie called Murder in the First.
Oh yeah, he's great in that movie.
with Gary Oldman and Christian Slater.
Christian Slater is the main
and
guy.
he's like, it's another one where it's just he plays a man in prison for so long and not guilty that he literally just turns into a shell. It becomes feral, basically. He's like Gollum. It really is. This guy, you watch Murder in the First and tell me that's not early Gollum footage. Like it is this totally just like beat down person. And I remember watching that a long time ago with my mom. Like we watched it on VHS when it first came out.
It was the case that shut down Alcatraz. I remember that.
Yeah,
whole thing.
and Gary Oldman playing the evil warden, and it's another one where you've got other people playing like they're in an elevated B movie, but it's Gary Oldman and it's Christian Slater and it's Kevin Bacon, all delivering better than maybe the plot necessarily is.
Right.
But I remember watching that with my mom, and she was just like, "Fuck!" Like she was kind of like had blown off Kevin Bacon.
Your mom dropped an F-bomb in front of you? That's horrible parenting.
I'm glad you went there. I thought you were going to say your mom blew Kevin Bacon, but that would have been even worse.
That'd be great. Only 1 degree.
No, she had like I think.
Matt,
Oh,
we have something
man.
something to tell you.
Shut up, Ben. Shut up.
There are no degrees. Your father.
My father's Kevin Bacon. Oh no. No, it's I remember like it was one of those ones where like there was an adult in the room watching this that goes, "Oh, I kind of like thought this guy was just this young, like he's an okay actor. He's fine in Footloose, but like, oh shit, this guy can actually like he can kind of deliver." Yeah, I mean, oh lordy,
I can tell you're so flustered from this.
I
last
am. I'm
display.
just we gotta
Do you
just.
see what we've done, Ben? I mean, is this what we wanted? Is this what? I'm not happy with
You
this. I'm
broke
sorry.
me. You
I'm
broke
fine.
me.
I'm sorry.
Too much bacon.
Too much.
See, I need.
Too much bacon.
I love though that like all right, so there also are a lot of unexpected bacon. One of my favorites is in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He has a famous wordless role in the opening of that movie where he fights
He's
with
like,
Steve Martin to get a taxi.
Yeah.
And it's them basically just racing one another to try and get a taxi that leads to Steve Martin saying, "You're messing with the wrong guy," at the end of it, which is fucking great. But I do love that, like, Bacon shows up for that. He doesn't talk. He's literally just running, but somehow he built, like, there's a character, like, you're watching this competition between these two people, and you're like, you can kind of feel the young, like, likely executive going against this other guy. It's interesting, but it is good, unexpected bacon. But I would say the one movie probably you haven't seen with Kevin Bacon that I urge you to see.
X-Men First Class.
Well, I do like X-Men First Class quite a bit. Although I'll be honest, I don't love Bacon in that movie.
I actually really liked Bacon in that movie. That was unexpected Bacon for me because I didn't even know that he was in the movie. We went to see it.
He's fine. I don't feel that. I think they could have gotten more out of that Bacon, but it's fine. He's not bad. He's never bad. It's just not great.
I mean,
They
how
could've
often
gotten
have you
more
ever
out of
had bad
Dinklage,
bacon?
too.
Yeah. Well,
They
that's
could've
in the
gotten
other
more out
one.
of Dinklage. I know, but
Yeah.
it's similar like.
I agree with you.
Similar like underusage.
I agree. Yeah, that they the one thing they weren't great at. They're great at all of the X-Men and Magneto, but the rest of the kind of villain side of it, I didn't feel were quite up there.
That's fair enough.
But there's
I am sick of Hollywood underserving their white leading men.
well, we'll work on that. We're working on it already with their Oscars. So there's
Stay tuned to the New Way Oscar special coming soon. in
this
March.
is true.
Or
You might have already listened.
You've already listened to it.
We're
you
time
did.
traveling.
Damn it! You specifically told me not to be.
God damn it, Nick.
Doc,
we gave you one
Doc, I
fucking
gotta
rule.
tell you about the future. No, Bonnie, don't do it. Don't tell me, Doc. When I go back inside. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Now you're about to experience the butterfly effect.
I admit it. We already recorded this episode.
all of our
We misled you, dear listeners. We misled you.
all of our listeners are about to disintegrate into dust and be reborn in a new
Slowly
universe.
disappear from the photo.
I can't wait till it's 2018. We can finally air this podcast.
I predict that a movie called The Irishman will win Best Picture.
Well, I do want. There's one movie I want to bring up because I don't know if I've brought this movie up to Nick. I think I've talked to you about it, but I don't think you've seen it. And it's called Where the Truth Lies. Do you know about this movie?
Where the truth lies.
It is.
I thought you were gonna bring up Telling Lies in America. Which
I
I
don't know that.
Joe
Tell me about that.
Westerhouse.
Tell me about that one first.
Reality.
Oh! So the '97 film, it was written by Joe Esterhaus, Telling Lies in America, which is Brad Renfro and Kevin Bacon. Brad Renfro is an immigrant who needs basically a job, and Kevin Bacon plays a really shady DJ. that
His
everybody
name
loves.
is Billy Magic.
Magic. Yeah, yeah, Billy
So
Magic.
he plays a DJ.
Guess who that role was written for? John Candy.
Okay.
Yeah. Strangely enough, way different from Kevin Bacon, but basically he's this duplicitous guy, and Brad Renfro kind of falls under his spell and ends up going down a bad path. Let's put it that way. But it's a very interesting movie. Very
Kevin
interesting,
Bacon was
underseen
originally
movie.
Kevin Bacon was originally who, Ben? Nick?
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck. Yeah, he was the original Uncle Buck, but he passed. And then John Candy took it. And then Kevin Bacon vowed that he would never lose a role to John Candy again. And he took everything that was ever offered him,
And
including...
that's when he got cast as a DJ.
So Kevin Bacon killed John Candy.
let's
No.
not, man. All right, let's not go. I knew that joke was coming up one way. I didn't know how I was going to show it. So where the truth lies, it's Kevin Bacon. This is in 2004, I think. 2005, right after Woodsman.
Okay.
It's Kevin Bacon and Colin Firth playing essentially Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, with Kevin Bacon playing the Jerry Lewis role and Firth playing Dean Martin. And they're these entertainers. They're a comedy duo. They're super famous and connected. They go out on the road. They like gallivant with women and booze and all of this stuff. But it has one of the most, like, at first sort of humorous, but then you realize sort of what's happening scenes in it. But it's eventually you find out that one of the men is more interested in the partner in a romantic way than they thought. And it's literally them, like, they're not averse to having these like 3 ways or 4 ways or orgies, whatever in the room, but they're both with this one girl. At one point, Kevin Bacon gets behind, Colin Firth gets behind Kevin Bacon, and then he goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you're getting a little too close to the end zone there, eh, compadre?" And I don't think there's ever been a more, like, awkward but hysterical line delivered in a movie. And he's like, literally, they're like getting into it. He's like, "Whoa, hey, hold on a second. Wait a minute. What's going on back there?" But it's a really good movie. It is also very brutal. Like, that's not the only overtly forward sexual moment in it. I'll tell you off air one of the ones. It's pretty awkward, but it's a really fucking good movie. And I want to look up actually who directed it, because I don't know if they ever did. Adam Agoyan.
You refuse to talk about it on air.
The guy that directed The Sweet Hereafter, Ararat, Adam Agoyan.
You disrespect our listeners for thinking they're not mature enough to listen to your graphic depictions of sex scenes in film.
Do you really want me to go into the detail on this, Nick?
No. Just keep going.
Actually,
Keep going.
just put some music behind it. I'll do it as an erotic reading.
I almost prepared one of the, so I'll save that for another one.
We'll save it for later. Don't save it for the short form ones. But anyways, I do think it's interesting that recently Kevin Bacon's kind of shied away from doing film. He's done a lot more TV stuff where he can, kind of have the consistent, 9 to 5 sort of thing and go back and do the family stuff.
He did a bad TV show. It wasn't his fault, but it was a bad TV show. The Following.
Right.
My brother loved it, but it's bad.
but
Well, I mean, poor Chris. You're just gonna for a mere instant passing.
He's too busy with his 10-year-old girlfriend. He does. We don't do it. All right.
Like nothing. You're just gonna casually throw him under the bus in between topics.
Yeah, he likes it.
But I do think it's really interesting that the last movie that he was in that was really, I think, critically well received was the movie that I showed you, Cop Car. Which is, I think, a really interesting and very, very super contained and very well done movie. And I think it's so insane that the director of that went on to do the following 2 Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home.
And seems to be loving doing the. They're good child director.
He's doing a great job with it too.
Oh yeah.
Those new Spider-Man films are so good. They're so good. As a diehard Spidey fan, I still think about Far From Home. I've watched it 3 times, and it's like it gets better and better. And the way they wove that into the greater MCU, chef's kiss.
It's wonderful, right?
Fucking
Have you seen Cop Car?
no.
It's good. You should watch it.
It will blow your mind. You will not think it's the same director. It's so intense and contained.
If it's very good, then it has that in common with Homecoming.
No, it's very good.
Where does Cop Car take place? Is it a Texas movie?
It might be Texas. Let's look it up.
I have to know because it looks like Texas.
You know what, guys? We should at some point in the future do an episode about Texas.
That's a great idea. We'll have to remember that in 7 weeks' time when
whenever we happen to record this, we'll then release it in order.
I don't know where that one takes place, but it would be nice if we spent some more time talking about Texas at some point, or have already.
You know what? Put a pin in it. Put a pin in it.
We will get back to that, or we did once. It'll be great.
Already have.
Yeah, I mean, I think the long story short is Kevin Bacon is an incredibly versatile actor. I really can't
amazing over dates.
I mean, what the hell is going on?
I can't off the top of my head think of a bad Kevin Bacon performance. I've not liked movies he's been in or maybe his role in movies, but I've never felt that he's not giving as much as he can based on what he's got there.
He's especially good in those Geico commercials where he's a Kevin Bacon fan.
There we go. And he's married to Kira Sedgwick, who's a no slouch in the acting department either,
She's
or
pretty
the
good.
looks department. So
You had to do it. You had to reduce her down to her looks, didn't you?
I was
I
gonna say she's
believe I led with her
solid-
acting ability
solid actor.
and also said
you
that
had
she's
to
good
pay it
looking.
off. You had to pay it off, didn't
She
you?
can't be both, Nick. I thought we were in. I thought this was 2020. I mean, 2018. Fuck. I don't know when we are.
You fucked up, man.
When will then be now?
Time.
Yeah, I
Let's
think.
pull out the New Way the movie.
Does anyone have any final Bacon thoughts? Any FBTs?
I will end with this thought. It's not Kevin Bacon related.
Oh boy.
If you don't end this episode with Huey Lewis is back in time, I'm gonna be very, very upset.
I'm not ending it with back inside. Not has nothing to do with. It has nothing to do with Bacon.
We've established it now.
No,
It's a
I will
thing.
not reduce Kevin Bacon to a Back to the Future punchline.
How dare you?
Do you know who shot half of the movie of Back to the Future before Eric Stoltz did? Kevin Bacon.
So
There's
it's
lost Bacon footage in Back
So
to the Future. It
it's
was called
connected-
Bacon to the Future. We've got to go Bacon to the future. Uh-oh. Oh, Ben's already doing it. Who's doing You're doing that. I'm going to mute you. Oh, wait, that's not you. It's Ben. God damn it.
Thanks everyone for tuning into the. Oh.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to listening to the New Way podcast. Okay, it's very loud. It's very loud. I'm just gonna turn you down. Okay. Well, thank you for listening to this Kevin Bacon. God fucking buck. God damn it. Just word fucking salad. Want to thank you.
You tossed your word salad.
Oh God. All right.
Tossed your own word salad.
All right.
Back up.
All right.
Turn me back up. That was excellent.
We want to thank you for listening to this Kevin Bacon centric podcast brought to you by a generous grant from the Bacon Foundation and not sponsored by Huey Lewis and the news. Shut up, Ben. Just
But when you
shut up.
You really ended on the high quality version of it in post.
Shit, no, we are not.
Put
With
the
the joke is
probably
done. We did it and we ruined everything. But thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
And we will talk to you on the next episode of The New Way. Oh, I see Nick leaning in. I get very
When you
nervous.
start editing, this is where you put in Huey Lewis. Right
Now,
Go.
right now, you're probably listening to the end of Naked and Famous. It closes out every episode of The New Way. And we'll talk to you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Years.
That was all right.
Okay.